Welcome to the Bite Size Brilliance Podcast. I'm your host, April Darley, and I want to talk about something unusual today, and that is fear of success. Yes, you heard that right. In the coaching that I do, you can have a 50-50 fear on failure or success. And a lot of people think they're actually afraid of failure because that makes the most logical sense. If you do something, you're afraid it's not going to work. And so you create a lot of resistance or procrastination about doing the thing because you think you're afraid of failure. But I'm going to flip that perspective. I think a lot of people are actually afraid of their success and what that would mean for them. And this is the piece that can be a little hard because it's not a logical thought process. It's not even logical in your emotional process, but that is not the brain that we operate from most of the time. We actually operate from our survival brain, which is keeping you safe. What do you need to keep yourself safe? Your fight, flight, freeze, everything you need to survive. That's your default level, your unconscious level. And this level is out of your conscious control. So, this is why you may not believe what you think you believe. So, for example, many years ago, when I used to do these techniques in person with kinesiology or muscle testing, your body will react unconsciously in a reflexive way when you say a statement one of your brains doesn't believe in. And I used the lottery example. So if you ask most people, would you like to win the lottery? They would be like, oh, yeah, that sounds amazing because their head is full of all these dreams about what they could do and buy and the safety and security. And yes, that's true. But then there is the underlying tip of the iceberg, the underlying pieces which say, well, people are going to come out of the woodwork wanting money from you. You're going to start meeting family you've never met before. Everybody's going to want a piece of you. You might get kidnapped. You might even get killed. And those pieces are subconscious and unconscious. And just those pieces that you don't even know about are enough to create a disbelief to where you don't think you can win the lottery. And it shows out when you do muscle testing. If I were to say, I want to win the lottery, you would not be able to hold up your hand. And it's astounding to people when they find out they don't believe what they think they believe. So, success and failure is the same sort of way because your nervous system can sabotage your success and your beliefs about yourself and your ability to succeed can equally sabotage your success. So, I'm going to give you a client story from a client. I'm going to call it Lydia. I have changed her name to protect her privacy. But Lydia was a physician, high functioning physician, and she was seeing around 50 to 60 patients per day. It's like, can you imagine? I mean, I can because I was a physician and I did it too. But 50 to 60 patients per day really equals you're spending 5 to 7 minutes per patient. And if you've ever been in that scenario, and statistically, the average amount of time physicians do spend with you is around 7 minutes. So this wasn't all that unusual in her world, but it created this constant churn and burn. And think about your career when you have these moments of churn and burn. Maybe it's Christmas, a Black Friday for you, or maybe it's tax time if you're an accountant, but you will generally have these seriously intense work periods that may last for a season. But can you imagine if that intensity lasted almost every day? Burnout. Okay. No big surprise. Burnout. Her nervous system was completely shot. She was empathic, high functioning, and she even walked away from being a doctor and chose a different career, which is also not uncommon, sadly. So Lydia came to me many years later and she wanted to work on this new business that she was creating for herself. And despite doing, air quote here, all the right things, Lydia was still having trouble getting her income up. She was having trouble getting clients. And if you're a business owner, you may go, okay, well, a lot of business experience that. But when we worked on that from a mindset and growth, from a leadership and lifestyle perspective, what we uncovered is not that Lydia didn't believe she couldn't do it, but Lydia's subconscious and her unconscious brains were flashing back to that period of her life as a physician and viewing that as a trauma. The sheer number of patients, the sheer number of work was traumatic for her nervous system and 2 out of her 3 brains. So, because that survival brain wants to keep you safe and the emotional brain wants to keep you happy, those 2 brains colluded and said, you know what would keep Lydia safe and happy is to not let her have a lot of business, not let her see a lot of clients anymore, because that's what got her in Burnout City in the first place. So when we uncover that, it makes a huge difference. It's not that Lydia wasn't skilled, that she didn't know what she was doing, that she didn't have a plan or strategy, or that she wasn't doing something well or right. It literally is the deepest part of her brain, her body, and her nervous system viewed her desire, viewed her success as a threat to her very life, a threat to her existence. In simpler terms, business is bad. Poverty is good. Not having clients is good. Having clients is bad. So we had to rewire that for her, because can you imagine if your own nervous system is fighting you? You know what that's like if you have an autoimmune disorder in your physical body, but you may not be aware of it in your mindset, in your higher self, in your spiritual and energetic bodies. But the same thing happens. There's a piece of you that can attack you. There's a piece of you that will sabotage you. And in the meantime, your higher brain is going, I don't understand why this isn't working. I'm doing all the right things. So you don't believe what you think you believe, because what you think you believe is that conscious brain. I'm educated. I mean, Lydia would tell herself, I'm educated. I'm smart. I don't know why this isn't happening. But it's because the other 2 brains didn't believe that this was possible or safe for her. And those 2 are in charge. Those 2 brains make up to 97% of every decision you make is made from survival and emotion, not logic. So what I do in my business is I do something called 3 brain realignment technique, where I'm going to show you how a problem is not the problem you think it is, right? And what level the actual problem exists on, what the thought and motivation behind that level is, what the sabotage is, and how we can release that so you can actually achieve what you want to achieve and what you actually think you believe. So it's really fascinating. It's a unique system. I could geek out about it all day. But if you want to know how this can apply to you and your life and your situation so that you can achieve your goals without sacrificing your health, wealth, or freedom, then I would recommend that you book a one-on-one consultation with me. Or if you know that you are ready to jump in, do your one-to-one appointment with me. It's customized. This is no cookie cutter stuff. What is meant for you is going to be strategized for you during our sessions. And you can book those over at aprildarley.com. And I look forward to geeking out with 3 brain realignment system with you and helping you shift things and see things from a different perspective, and to get you to a place where you're balanced and no longer attacking yourself in some way. So if this was helpful to you, please like, share, subscribe, spread the word so that others can learn from this good stuff as well. And as always, I'm wishing you a fabulous, wonderful week, and I will see you next week. So stay brilliant, my friends. Goodbye.